Many thanks for joining us. In case you're joining us right now, we're just in time for the conversation in regards to matters environmental conservation and nurturing young conservationists. Now, I don't know what you were doing when you were as young as Baraka Mururi. I think he's around 13. Most of you are probably playing football in the villages, just going about your businesses. As young as you are, doing the games, playing the games that little kids do play. But as young as he has written a book, he's an author. And he is an environmentalist. Now, this particular evening, allow me to introduce one Baraka Mururi. A very good evening to you, Baraka.
Good evening.
Many thanks for, of course, gracing our students this evening.
Thank you.
We'll be getting in a moment. Also joining us this particular evening is Dr. Kalua Green. We all know Dr. Kalua Green. He is an ecopreneur. Very good evening to you, sir.
Thank you for having me in Baraka. Asante sana.
Why an ecopreneur?
Well, everything that we do about life needs to add value to our livelihoods. Simple as that. Because you can't do in isolation. You can't protect the environment in isolation. You must put food on the table.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Baraka, let me come to you. You see, when I was 13, I used to play football in the village, just, laughing and, running around, waiting for food to be cooked, come eat. But as young as you are, first of all, for the young people out there, for Kenyans out there, who is Baraka Mururi?
Baraka Mururi is a climate change ambassador, Little Mr. Environment Kenya, the ambassador of Plant Your Age, and Little Mr. Earth 2018.
How old are you?
I'm 13.
13 years?
Yes.
When did you start this all environmental conservation thing?
Ever since I was young, around like 6 years, I've always loved animals, and it really disturbed me that animals were losing habitats, and I wondered what made them lose habitats, and that's how I started to dive deep into climate change.
So that is why you're really passionate about
Yes.
climate change and conserving our environment.
I'm also passionate because it affects us as children. We cannot focus in school when the heat is too hot or unpredictable weather. Yeah.
Talking about concentrating, where do you school and what grade are you in?
I school in White Star Academy and I'm in grade 8.
Grade 8?
Yes.
Interesting. Now, let me talk about your book. You're also an author. Again, well, most of our viewers probably when they were 13, they didn't, do much. But you've gone to the extent of, authoring a book that will help your peers as young as they are to, understand what you're fighting for. What led you to, deciding to going from just being an environmentalist and talking about climate change to writing a book that will help people your age to understand what you're talking about?
First of all, I realized that not everyone can plant a tree. Maybe people live in cities where there's not enough space like farms to plant trees. And also I thought of children who are maybe in Turkana and have not yet gotten the right education methods, and me donating this book to them, it will help them learn about climate change in simple ways, and they learn how to plant trees in dry areas because it teaches them how to plant trees and tackle climate change in a fun way.
Fair enough. You said, donating this book.
Yes.
There are probably, young people across the country. There are those in Nairobi, but there are many others across the country. How can they get your book?
As of now, we're selling the book to get funds so that we can donate it to people who don't have enough money or think it's a waste of time, to give them the book and have them get a broader picture of climate change.
So how much does it go for, the book?
One book is 1,000 shillings.
One book is 1,000 shillings.
Yes.
Interesting. Go Green with Baraka. Why that name? And by the way, even before that, you're also a model.
Yes.
Tell us about your modeling. You do a lot of things for a young person. It is, really impressive. I have a very young nephew. I think he's around 9. And I was telling him, make sure you watch. There's a very young guy who's doing great things with his life, as young as he is. Tell us about your modeling as well, and how you've incorporated the modeling bit of it with environmental conservation.
I model for a brand with purpose, which cares about climate change and doesn't pollute the environment. So in my modeling career, it has to go hand in hand with my green career also. And the reason why I chose Go Green with Baraka is because there's no other name to call it. It's a catchy name.
You've probably also, you've vastly talked about, plant your age. So I'd be interested to know, and the viewer would be really interested to know, as we speak here today, how many trees have you probably planted?
I've planted over 7,600 trees with the help of friends and family.
7,600?
Yes.
I'm not so sure if we ask everybody who's seated here or is in this room, the camera persons, the director, if combined they can get to that number. That is really impressive. And I must commend you for that.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you in a moment, because we have to talk about how you also balance, your schoolwork with all this environmental conservation campaign. But let me engage Dr. Kalua Green. Dr. Kalua Green, you've been in the game for a very long time, and I could see you, listening to Baraka with a lot of, with awe, because it's really interesting what he has done. What does it say about the future generations and matters environmental conservation to see what Baraka is doing as young as he is?
To me, it's a generational challenge that we need to understand what we need to do, and that what we actually do, they're watching. To me, it's a big challenge, because I also picked it up. At one time, I asked him, Baraka, why did you choose me? And he says, when I was growing up, I knew about Wangari Maathai. A lot was told about Wangari Maathai. And since she was not there, I noticed that you asked Kenyans to plant 71 trees for Wangari. And this is what later became Plant Your Age, which so far, through that initiative globally, has planted 989 million trees out of just a system. Because the future is not about products, the future is about system. And therefore, I realized the importance of us as parents, us as the grown-ups. What is it that we must do that can be emulated? Every word that we speak, they watch. Everything that we do, they want to emulate, and they know what is good and what is bad. And therefore, for me, I saw that as an opportunity as parents that we need to be very careful. And here we are talking about parenting, because Baraka's book talks about planting a tree, planting hope. He's taken it beyond, and this is a young man that has actually beaten me on my own tracks. You talked about many years of what I have been doing. I made my vision when I was 14. At 13, I was still chasing after cows and doing things that were very different from what he's doing today, with an unstable family in terms of income, as I have written in my book. And at 14 is when I got direction and created a vision that made me who I am today. This guy is 13-year-old. He beats me on that. He wrote a book at 13. I wrote a book at 56. You can imagine what that means. And the book, when you read it, it communicates and shares what we need to be able to do as parents, as grown-ups, as people in the environmental world. That communication is a challenge. There's a lot that needs to be communicated in a way that we need to communicate, but we fail to do that. And therefore, it's something that we need to correct. Baraka has done it. And therefore, it's about parenting. And I must congratulate the parents. They are not here to be interviewed, but they're the real champions. And the importance of holding Baraka at the top, supporting him, creating opportunities for him to go and plant and grow trees, communicating with young people that they can be able to see, knowing that Baraka is 13-year-old. How many 13-year-olds do we have in Kenya? We have about 1.3 million 13-year-olds. If Baraka communicates the plant your age and what he is doing to the 13-year-olds, we will have 17 million trees. We have about age up to 15-year-old, younger than 15-year-old, we have 22 million Kenyans.
That is way above the 15
Yes,
billion
yes.
target that we have as a country.
No. We have 55 million or thereabout population. The target is 15 billion trees that we are looking to grow. If he goes in the direction that he's doing, simple. We will surpass that number within 6 years or 7 years. We will have done close to double that number if he takes it in the route that he's taking. And therefore, Baraka is here as an example of many young people that we need to be able to communicate. He represents a 22 million population, meaning about 40% of Kenyans. Okay. Hence the reason why we must support the effort that he's making.
Just right here, right now, because you've really articulated what he's been able to do, and you've, of course, lauded his parents in regards to that. From where you sit as you know, an ecopreneur and someone who's, if you allow me to call you a veteran in the environmental conservation field, what would be your message to parents out there, to teachers in regards to ensuring that we get to enlighten the young generation, as young as they are, to to focus on this issue of environmental conservation? Because even the Bible talks about teach them while they're young.
I will use a Swahili saying that says, mwindaji upumzika akichoma. This means a hunter rests when they are roasting the meat or when they are, and therefore we must create a nation that is a working nation. We must represent that. We must make the efforts, the challenges and the opportunities that our young people have, we must support it so that it can make a meaningful solution. Kenya is having challenges of work, meaning we are looking for jobs, meaning we are looking for activities that we can be able to do. Kenyans are going to different parts of the world to look for job opportunities. The job opportunities that are in this country are enormous. But we need to be able to bring up the children to be able to understand what is it that they can be able to do. How can tree growing result to job opportunities, and how will they rest when they are roasting the meat? That is the question that we must be able to ask ourselves. And we must be very practical. Children, watch. For this child to be here, the parent must give the consent clearly that I am ready to bring forward my child to go and talk about this. Why? Because we want others to be inspired. And therefore, we need to be able to bring out these issues as parents. Expose the children. Communicate what they are doing. Understand the heart of the child. What is it that we can be able to do? Baraka could not write a book on his own. He has a very supportive parent, father and mother, the auntie and the church that he goes to. And therefore, we must be able to mentor them in a very practical way. When they say they want to do something, support them. When he's talking about planting trees, planting hope, means that there is much more that you can do beyond the trees production. Is it a skill that a child is supposed to be doing? Support them, give them their best. Spend time with your children. If Baraka's parents didn't spend time with him, Baraka would not be seated here. If Baraka's parents didn't care about where he needs to go, Baraka would not be known by anyone. He attracts millions of kids. I have walked with him, I have seen. Wait till you see the next step of what I believe that he should be doing, creating a website for himself, creating a communication skill. And he has promised me, just like he has promised his parents, that he is not going to waver in his education, so that there is a balance of life and what other activities that he intends to do. So parents, above all, prayer. Okay. Let us bring these children to what they can be able to do, and let's not despise the small beginnings, because Baraka represents millions of Kenyans that can do quite a lot.
Fair enough. We'll come to Baraka and he'll tell us about how he also juggles between education and the environmental conservation, and how also the parents have been able to support him in his quest. But let me talk to you, let me pick your mind in regards to the current situation that we're facing. I mean, we've been talking about, planting trees and conserving the environment, making sure we're not cutting down trees, we're not invading forests. Do you think, all that has been a driving factor to the, severity that we're facing right now in the country in regards to matters flooding and all that?
Quite a lot, and we need to be able to go back to also appreciate what we are dealing with. We are a nation that is getting so much stressed over very small issues. And just like Baraka alluded to, heat and discomfort of lesser oxygen, increase in CO2 messes up our minds. So when Baraka is talking about hope through trees, he's talking about planting trees to produce more oxygen for our nation so that we can be able to have more. When we are talking about the flooding in the city, we are talking of it is not, first of all, a climate issue like in the city and the lives that we have lost. It is purely a planning issue. It's a waste management issue. It's something that can be managed, drainage issue. Secondly, it's an opportunity for us not to develop management of this space through ward by ward, but an ecosystem space. It's a management of the Nairobi Dam, which is no longer a dam. It is a big risk to the nation that is happening. It is a solution that he's bringing. He's talking about jobs. He's talking about placing food on the table. When Baraka is talking about the trees and planting hope, he's talking about the problems that our nation is facing. And therefore, flooding would not be there if we listen to what Baraka is saying. And therefore, issues of lives that have been lost in this country, we would never have them, because he's speaking a language that is not just trees, is a solution for the nation. We are talking of opportunities that we can easily pick up and change our nation. And I forgot to thank you for your very kind words. It is about us as leadership of this nation, us as parents and people who are doing great things to emulate or to do what can be emulated by the younger generations. Okay. This young man is talking about hope for the nation. He's not just talking about trees. He's talking about the future. And as I was telling him during the day that he was launching his book, green is red. And when it is red, we need to deal with it like life is coming to an end. Red stands for responsibility. We must teach our children to be responsible. The second one is E, which stands for efficiency. We must be able to manage what our God-given opportunities and resources are. And the D is discipline. And therefore, we must keep it red for us to have a nation that is green and a situation that can be emulated. This guy is not living his future, he's living present, which we must be able to emulate because it is already here.
Fair enough. We'll also come back and talk about the issue of, bridging the gap, because we have you, as a veteran in the field, and the young generation. How do we bridge that gap in regards to matters environmental conservation? Baraka, let me come back to you. Dr. Kalu has talked about, education and how you are able to go about, your education and, these issues of environmental conservation. How do you manage to handle both, and how are your parents, helpful in ensuring that you're able rather to handle both and be able to focus on your studies even more?
First of all, my teacher, I'd like to thank him. He is very supportive. In any event that I have, he will ask permission for me so that I can go to that event because he understands that it is not only costing his future, but also our future. and he really values climate change. And could I say his name?
Yeah, you can.
His name is Teacher Omoso. He's a very supportive
Teacher
teacher.
who?
Omoso.
Omoso.
Yes.
So you really want, more teachers to be like Teacher Omoso, to embrace people who are doing what you're doing.
Yes.
So how helpful have your parents been? Because Dr. Kalu has really lauded your parents, and it is a wake-up call for all parents across the country to ensure that their kids are enlightened in regards to the importance of talking about these issues, because it affects our future. So how helpful have they been, even with the writing of the book and you moving around, ensuring you are able to attend interviews like today, organizing your events? Who have you also partnered with?
I've partnered with many companies like Safaricom, EG Pro, Lolo Cleaning Services, Fast Link Movers. There are a lot.
Talk to us about your parents.
And my parents have been really supportive in terms of funds. They've also been supportive in general support, because they are always there for me, and the emotional support matters. And also my family members showing up to my events really means something to me.
How many siblings do you have, Baraka?
5.
5?
Yes.
Oh, interesting, because I also have...
No, I have...
You have 4?
Yes,
you're 5 in total?
Yes, we're 5 in total.
Just like, me back at home, I have 4 siblings, but I have to say it is very shameful that if we combine the number of trees we've, planted as a family, I can't even say. So to have you here and you've planted at least 7,600 trees, it's a really big feat. We cannot take it for granted. And you keep up. You keep going. You are an inspiration to many, not only the young generation, but also people who've grown up. You are an inspiration to many people here. There was one of the camera operators here was saying, well, she was 13, she used to play, there's a game called Kati. You know Kati, heard about it?
Yes.
Yeah, she used to play that. She didn't do much, but to have you here, she said she was really impressed to know that you are doing a lot in regards to conserving the environment. Well, we're taking a brief breather, but we'll be back to talk more in regards to matters environmental conservation and what is in store for us as a country, even as we look at planting 15 billion trees by 2030. That will be after the break. Do stay with us.